welcome to the podcast and a conversation. Yes. We're going to have a conversation with Ben today.
Hello.
This is one I've been looking forward to be honest with.
I've been looking forward to this since I got the text.
Well, you and I have chatted just a little bit, and so the bottom line is that I know your mom. I worked with her for a number of years. I know her well, and also have had the privilege of watching you on the gridiron, battling against Halstead and battle against Crazy. Tabor and some of those places, right? So so it's really kind of a privilege, and the reason, Ben, that I wanted to kind of sit down and have a conversation with you is what's been going on over at First Baptist Church with you. Yeah. But there's history that we got to deal with, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're kind of one of you're Harvey County's own. Yeah. And now you're all grown up and you're doing great things.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Yeah, I guess that's the goal, is just to represent the Lord, represent the community, represent my family and friends well. So, and the county, here. So it's awesome. Yeah.
So talk to me just a little bit about. I don't want to throw all the cards on the table, but your youth group has been growing like mad over there.
Yeah, you can say that for sure. It depends on your definition of mad, but for sure.
So, full disclosure, I drop my son off there like every Sunday night.
Yes.
And so I see how many people are coming and going, and it's a lot. So what's your secret, man? What's your secret sauce?
We're getting right into it.
Yeah, we're gonna get right into it.
So I've been telling people. Well, first, if I don't say this, I feel like I've missed it. One, I think any youth group, when dealing with youth group, and I'm pretty fresh. This is my first official year as a youth pastor since this January. But I've been interning there and learning from Chip Bungard, who's the head pastor, since 2023. While I was in college, did some intern and just tried to learn ministry in a church, something I was not familiar with besides for just going to youth group on my own. And I realized right away, when it comes to ministry, especially youth ministry, I think in any ministry, you got to follow the Lord. So if I give you another answer before I give you that one, I don't think I can sit here and call myself ready for a ministry role, especially when you're working with youth. Because if I'm not pursuing the Lord and I want youth to pursue the Lord, then I'm a hypocrite. And nothing I say, nothing we do on those Sunday nights really matter, because it's not going to be intentional to what we're trying to go for, and that's a relationship with Jesus Christ, the Savior. But now saying that, I would tell you a good youth group is one that has good to solid leadership, meaning not just the youth pastor, but the leaders who are adult sponsors, who are volunteers, who buy into your program. That is always step one. And Chip Bungard, who's the head pastor, like I said, really led well and introduced me into hey, if you're going to have a good youth group, you got to have leaders who are bought in. But I realized right away, that's a good youth group. A great youth group is one that has other youth who have bought into the culture and the program itself and have poured in or taking time to pour into other youth. And I think that is where, AKA discipleship, but not just adult to youth, which is great and very important, but from youth to youth, because that will make a program go from good to great. And that's been my big thing right now with trying to get another leadership team for this year and having a leadership team last year is I want youth to feel welcomed, yes, by myself, yes, by my leaders who are amazing, my volunteer adult leaders, but by other youth, whether they go to Heston, Newton, Berean, they're homeschooled, whatever school they go to, whatever sport they play. If they don't play sports, they feel like they can come in and they're going to have a great time for an hour and a half on a Sunday night. That takes youth group. And I'm kind of seeing that. Sometimes it's a harvest. Sometimes it's a season of, the harvest is plenty, and sometimes the season is we're just planting seeds. And we're going to see what the Lord does, whether it's in a week, a month, or years. So just trusting, whatever Sunday it is, to see, man, the Lord's doing a lot. And it's really because kids are buying in to something that's bigger than themselves. So I hope that answers the question for the secret sauce.
Well, sure. What drew you to this? Because, straight up, Bethel is not a place where a lot of pastors are cultivated.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know that they even have a program over there for that, even though they profess to be a Mennonite college.
Yeah.
Right? Now up the street at Heston, they've got dedicated stuff for that.
Yeah.
So how does a Bethel guy find himself doing this?
Yeah. So there definitely is a Bible religion major for sure at Bethel. And I know someone in my class who wants to go into ministry, like pastoral ministry. But to answer your question, I would tell you right now, if we took a time machine and we flashed back to high school senior Ben Bollinger, I'm telling you right now, I am not working in church ministry. Not that I'm anti-ministry. I was just like, I would rather be like in camp ministry or in ministry of some sort that, I would love to work with youth at some point that in my mind at 18 years old, but I was also a youth myself. So kind of how that, gotta have some time to develop. But I would tell you, at least in Newton and at least in FBC, it wasn't actually Bethel that got me to this place. It was definitely the Lord using people at Bethel and using the connections, but I wouldn't say Bethel prepared me, and at least in that way. I've learned a lot, but I would tell you it was connections outside. So the first person I can think of right now is, before I even stepped a day on Bethel College's campus, a man named Lauren Kurtz, you might be familiar with, who is the director of Young Life in Newton, heard from, I'm trying to go back. It was, whoa, okay. So my mother worked at Conradi. This is a crazy story, but my mother worked at Conradi, and she worked for Dan Heinze. And Dan Heinze knew Lauren Kurtz, and Lauren Kurtz was looking for leaders because Young Life just started in 2021, and I had graduated high school in 2021. So because of that relationship with my mother, Rachel Bachman, Dan Heinze said, Lauren, you should reach out to a kid who's going to Bethel named Ben. So in August of 2021, I was reached out to by Lauren Kurtz. We had coffee at Norm's. I can remember it like it was yesterday. And he kind of pitched this Young Life vision for Newton. Unfamiliar with Young Life, I was like, what is this? But I was like, hey, this is kind of an opportunity to be at Bethel and still serve in the area to work with kids. Started the program with Wildlife, which is 7th and 8th graders in Newton. Bought in, loved it. Did it my freshman through junior year of college. Faithful in it. Loved the relationships. That to me was like, oh, this ministry thing, this is kind of fun to see kids grow and have a walk. And you can't force faith. I don't believe in that. I really believe that it's a really personal decision, because you can try to force it, but then later when they have that freedom, if they don't feel like it's their own, they won't keep it. So watching kids grow and have those personal decisions and freedom to have their faith in Jesus was like, I want to do this with my life. This is amazing. And because of that, a man who was on the board of the Young Life directors, he was kind of like the original committee founder, or I guess, the founder of the committee, Chip Bungard, which I just mentioned, who's the pastor at First Baptist. And they didn't have a youth pastor. They just had adult volunteers kind of leading the youth. And he was like, hey, Lauren, there's this kid over here. I see his energy. He's young. Would you ever want to be interested in church ministry? And so Lauren talked to me, and I was like, I'm up for anything. So going into my junior year, so my sophomore year, Chip reached out to me, and then the rest is kind of history, with the internship to opportunity now at full time, which feels like a dream, kind of like one of those moments where like, that wasn't me, Lord. Like, Ben Bollinger did not put those together. Like, I didn't string that together. I didn't even know who Chip was. I didn't even know what First Baptist was in Newton. And I grew up in Heston. I went to Newton for a lot of events and activities. Went to Drubers in high school at Friday nights and didn't even realize there was a church there. It's just crazy now to see all the Lord's done full circle, and to really see like, oh, wow, I'm here now because of the faithfulness to the Lord, but also because people took a chance on a young 18-year-old kid in Young Life, then a young 20-year-old kid who's still in college, still at Young Life, to really just go out and lead. Although I still feel like I need to know so much more. I want to learn. I want to continue to learn. I have not capped in any way. There's so much for me to grow in, but just taking a chance. And I feel like I'm forever grateful for the people like Chip and Lauren and even Dan Heinze, just being able to be like, hey, there's a kid who loves the Lord and he's solid in his faith and he's got more to learn, but he's willing to be taught.
So if you were to go back, you mentioned a time machine. If we were to take that time machine back to say freshman year of high school.
Okay.
What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were a freshman in high school?
Yeah, if you asked me as a freshman in high school, I would tell you I would love to be a camp director So I fell in love with youth camp. I went to Camp Minnesota through middle school and high school. I went to Rocky Mountain Midnight Camp through high school. And then I went to a camp called Gold Lake Ministries in Michigan, which the only reason I have connection there was my mother's brother, so my uncle, is the CEO of that camp. So it was more like we went for family because our family was there, so my cousins. But we also went there because it was summer camp and got to be with counselors. And it was a family camp style, different than Minnesota and Rocky Mountain, even though sometimes they offer it. I went to just the junior or senior high camps. But I got to go family camp, and I was like, this is amazing. Ministry and camping is awesome. And they were all different. Like Rocky Mountain, you're in the mountains. Like, how can you not experience the amazing creation of the Lord? Like, this is amazing. And Camp Minnesota was like, there is nothing amazing in the creation. But man, the relationships. Small kids from Kansas, from other states, just getting along, kind of surviving the summer heat. And then Gold Lake was on a lake in Michigan, and I was like, oh my goodness, and the counselors were phenomenal young college kids who were on fire for Jesus. And I saw all three of those things, and I was like, man, I would love to be a camp director. Like, that would be amazing if I could give this opportunity for kids and kind of like if I could take these worlds together, if I could get kids to survive together and love the Lord together like Minnesota, or see the nature, the beauty of the mountains, or just creation like Rocky Mountain. And if I can get young college kids to like fall in love with serving younger kids, and it's all for the Lord, like, whoa, I would definitely do that. And that was definitely my mentality as a freshman in high school. I'd be like, I'm going to be a camp director. It's going to happen. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm doing it because I was in love with camp. But I had no actual experience with how to actually have any ministry with the kids. I just had the ideas. But that's where I feel like now I'm like, oh man, it's so much more relationally than it is just putting these amazing things together and saying, oh, it's going to work. So still have a passion behind, like, the Lord opened that door. I trust it, but I'm very happy with what he's opened right now. And I feel, Lord, I know you have me here, and I love it. So
do you have opportunities to stay in touch with that sort of camp atmosphere?
Yeah. So this year is the first year, because now this is my first full-time, this is my first year of full-time ministry. We are going to camp this summer for the first time, and I'm not sponsor. I'm not a youth who's going to camp. I'm actually like the camp leader for our group. And so that's like whoa, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see camp from a different perspective. At Falls Creek Camp, it's a Baptist camp in Oklahoma, southern Oklahoma. Just excited to learn. I want to see camp from a different angle. I still have connections with those who are at Rocky Mountain. A year ago, I served at snow camp just to help, because they have like a weekend retreat for youth on the weekend in Rocky Mountain in Colorado, and snows everywhere, and it's amazing. Still have connections with Camp Minnesota, and then I still go once a year. I try to get out there just to see Gold Lake and see my family, and that's more of a family vacation than it is camp anymore, but still just a relationship. So there's definitely still a passion of like learning camp stuff, but camp without relationships, I mean, like, anyone can go to camp. That's not what makes it, or, that's not what makes camp special. It's the relationships you form at camp, and realizing, I think the cool part about ministry now and thinking about this summer camp is it's not just a one-time experience. Where I served at Gold Lake through my college years in the summers as a counselor, and that was before I was on full-time or anything. And I realized, like, oh, you have these great relationships for a week, and you don't see these kids anymore. Like Camp Minnesota, I would go and you meet these amazing people who are volunteers, and then you go home. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Rocky Mountain. Amazing people, you go home. But I'm like, whoa, in youth ministry, when you're working at church, you go to camp, you have a great time with the youth, you watch them, you want them to have a great time, you meet new people, but then you continue the relationship. And that to me has been such a, like, I'm still learning, still trying to grow in that, but that to me is like, whoa, we're getting that kick step, or like that, I guess that kind of that more like getting back on the momentum train, because that camp is just like what is going on? I'm so on fire. But not letting that fire die out. Like, we're just going to keep riding it. And that to me is like, okay, this is really special. This is different than just camp, go, come back. And so I'm excited to kind of keep learning on that. I don't have all the answers for that now, but I think that gets me really excited for the tie between church ministry and camp ministry and how those work together.
So are you seeing those kinds of relationships coming out of your Sunday nights?
Yeah, it's crazy. And I can speak on this. This is what I get really passionate on, is these relationships on Sunday nights are growing and the kids I've been able to meet, and I realized you can't in ministry have a intentional relationship with every single kid. It's just not possible. And that's hard for me because I was like, yeah, I want to have a relationship where I can say, hey, how's it going? What's going on with this? Can I ask you about this? Whatever, fill in the blank with what those things are. But then I realized that's why you have amazing adult sponsors, because that's what's going to cover the relationships. Is I can't be there for, I could be there pretty intentionally for 8 kids, right? Once you get past that, then you're kind of like, it doesn't mean I don't try, but what about all the other kids in your youth group? Are they not going to have anyone that can pour into them intentionally? Well, that's why you have sponsors. So I start to realize, okay, now I'm seeing sponsors have intentional relationship with kids. And that makes me like, okay, I'm really fired up. And then I get to have a leadership team, which ironically enough, I actually reached out to someone you're pretty close with on this.
Yes.
And I'm really excited to continue to grow. And that leadership team will serve as a team. Like I kind of mentioned at the very beginning of this podcast, that's the team that's going to pour in. It's going to take the responsibility of, it's still your youth group. I want you to have a great time. I want you to enjoy what we are able to offer you, but also I want you to serve, and I want you to pour in to others so that these young 7th, 8th graders, freshmen, or even like if they're sophomore, junior, senior, and they're just new, they feel welcomed and they feel bought in and they feel like I'm going to have an adult sponsor get to know me eventually, but it takes time. You got to continue to show up on Sundays so these adult sponsors can get to know you. But I want to know, I don't get to see them every day. Neither do my adult sponsors, but you know who do? Who gets to see these kids every day is fellow kids. So if they get to have a relationship with each other through youth group, oh my goodness, that's when you start making something really special. Because I've realized real quick in youth ministry, you got your kids that go to your church, you got your parents that go to your church and their kids come to youth group for sure. That's awesome. But a lot of these kids who are coming, they don't go to First Baptist, whether they go to a different church or they just don't go to church, but they're coming. And it's like, well, how are they starting to show up? I can tell you right now, I don't feel like it's me. And I don't feel like it's my adult sponsors. Not to say we don't care or we don't reach out. Not what I'm saying. But they don't come because of that. They come because of the relationships with their fellow peers. They're like, hey, come to Sunday night. And that's when you start to see it bloom. Like I've seen kids who were brand new 2 years ago buy in. And now this year they're bringing friends. So now they're like, this is my youth group. So they feel like they're connected. And now they're bringing friends who, my thing is, if it's about growth, and it's not all about, I don't like, youth ministry is not based on numbers. It's good to see where you're at, but I rather have a youth group of 5 kids who are all on fire for the Lord than have a youth group of 50 and no one knows about Jesus. And that's all just fun and games. But numbers are a good tool to see where you're at. And I love to see when I look back on a spreadsheet that we have, okay, so-and-so came 2 years ago, was not connected to our church. They just showed up because maybe they had a friend. And then you can kind of see this trail. When they buy in, they're consistent, so their numbers are coming. And then they bring people. And it's like their reference point is someone that came that was brand new. And that's where it's like I said, there's a passion to that. Lord, this is awesome. This is kingdom work. This is what it's like to go make disciples. And it's not, I don't ever want to take the credit or glory to be like, look what Ben Bollinger's done. It is not me. It started from Young Life and Lauren to Chip to giving a chance as a young college student to learn. And then I get to be leaders, go take it. Okay? Leaders are doing their part. Youth, you can lead, go take it. And you're starting to see the kingdom is so much bigger than one person. The kingdom is so much bigger than one idea or one moment of time where we're going to make the best youth group and we're going to steal kids from other youth groups. That's not kingdom work. Kingdom work is pouring into kids and then pouring into other kids and those kids pouring into kids. And then the cycle continues and you get to see the love of Jesus, a free choice being made because one kid invited another kid and they became consistent and came to youth group for every week for, 2 semesters of school. And now they want a relationship with the Lord that will change the rest of their life. Yeah, that gets me more fired up than camp could ever get me fired up. So.
Oh, we can tell. And that's good.
Right.
Right. Sure. But now the youth group, the Sunday night meetings,
yes.
They're paused for a little bit, right? You guys take summer off.
Yes. So it's correct. That's correct.
Right.
We take the summer off. We do a different events. So camp's the big one this year. Next year I'll be focused a lot on a missions trip. So I kind of want to rotate that because I know there's camps that are available. I want kids, if they go to Camp Minnesota, go to Camp Minnesota. I'm not against that. But I also want to give kids opportunities to go to camp, and I want to give kids opportunity to go on a mission trip and serve. But that will rotate. And then we have different things that come up. So we have you do like a water park trip, or you want to be intentional with kids and have leaders go out. And I'm trying to be very intentional with these grad parties that are coming up for our seniors, just to make them feel supported and loved, that, we're not meeting anymore on Sunday nights, but we're still in your corner and we're still here for you. And don't even ever feel like you're a burden because we're not meeting, that you can't reach out to myself or adult leaders, anyone, and say, hey, I want to talk, or I want to catch up. Like, that's why we're here. And then later in August, I'm pretty excited for this. This will be new for our youth group, but I'll have my first looking at like leaders. So our youth leaders, a selected group from our adult sponsors, selected a group of youth leaders, and trying to have like a weekend of just a retreat and really pour into them. I try to explain, but also have fun. Say like, you can have fun and also serve others. Like, being a leader doesn't mean, no, youth group's not fun anymore because I have to serve. I don't want that. But I also don't want them to think youth group's only fun, I'm going to do it all for me. Well, that's also not leadership. So finding that good balance, that good rhythm of youth group is for you. You're still a youth. You come here, we're going to serve you as adult leaders. You're going to be served. But now taking that, kind of pouring that in, like we've said, to others. And that is what we're kind of gearing up for in August. I'm excited for that, working on the details with that right now, so that we can really kickstart in September when we start back up on Sunday nights and we're rolling, and we got people who are bought in, and we got youth who are ready to serve and ready to have fun too. So pretty excited about that.
And I can tell you firsthand that the kids are excited about it. No matter what you've heard back.
Yeah.
Even if you have heard nothing back.
Yeah.
Kids are excited too.
Thank you.
Well, Ben, I really appreciate you spending some time with us today. I just felt like your story is a story that needed to be told, and I kind of felt like you were the one to tell it. So thank you very much, man.
I am so grateful for your time, and I thank you for reaching out. And yes, it is a really, really true story, and a really, really cool story at that. But for everything I can say on this podcast, it might be my story, but it's for the Lord's glory, and I want him to have all of it. So I thank you. I really do. I'm very appreciative. I love being here, and this is really, really cool to see all the things that go into this podcast. That's awesome. But also just so cool to be able to talk about, myself, but more importantly, not because of me, but for Jesus. And that is what changes everything.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.